The Southern African Alcohol Policy Alliance says it's noted the growing calls for further restrictions on alcohol sales. The South African Medical Association, DENOSA and NEHAWU are among those calling for greater controls on alcohol as part of efforts to allow healthcare resources to focus on managing COVID-19 cases. Currently, alcohol sales are only allowed between Mondays and Thursdays. Let's get more reaction on the story, and I'm joined by the SAAPA's director, Maurice Smithers. Maurice, many thanks for your time this evening. Let's look at the economic impact of another alcohol ban. We've seen how it was crippling the industry in the first hard lockdown, and surely this could be worse the second time round.
Absolutely. That's why, in fact, we're not calling for a ban, partly because of the economic impact, but partly because we don't believe that a ban is necessary. You can actually control the access to alcohol without having a complete ban, and you then avoid some of the unintended consequences, such as the development of an illicit trade, and people busting into bottle stores to steal alcohol and so on. So we believe that it would be much better to have tighter restrictions on the sale of alcohol, allowing alcohol still to be sold off consumption, but stopping all on-consumption sales. In other words, restaurants, pubs, taverns, and so on are not allowed to actually sell on consumption, on site, because that's actually where the problem lies. It's in the social gatherings where you have a large number of people drinking together that's where the alcohol contributes to the spreading of the virus. Because as we all know, people have 2 or 3 drinks and then caution is thrown to the wind. Nobody pays attention to the COVID protocols anymore. Masks fall away. Social distancing doesn't happen. And that's how the virus spreads.
Yeah, you have said in your statement issued earlier that the industry has failed to follow through on a pledge that it made to follow the protocols that have been put in place. But you're calling for stricter regulations. How would you ensure the oversight of these regulations being followed through properly by the industry?
Well, the point we are saying is that there must be absolutely no selling on consumption. So it's not a halfway mark. At the moment, the problem that happened with the liquor industry is, in their desperation to avoid further restrictions, they then said that they would try and get their members to abide by the regulations. But in fact, they haven't, and everybody knows that. Even the liquor industry admits that has happened, although they don't say the extent to which it's happened. But as soon as you say that all on-consumption outlets cannot actually have people coming in and sitting down and drinking in their establishments, much easier to manage that, much easier to control that, because if the place is open and selling, it's quite obvious that they're breaking the law. So we believe that's the best route to go, and to encourage people rather to go to an off-consumption outlet, to a bottle store or somewhere like that, and then to buy alcohol and take it home and drink it in the safety and comfort of your own home, in much, much smaller social gatherings. And so we also believe, in fact, that the issue of gatherings should be reduced. Social gatherings should be reduced right down to 10 people. If you look at what's happened in Europe, where there's also been a second wave and an increase in infections, that's what they've done. They've closed down all the bars, all the liquor outlets, and they have gatherings of less than 10 people. In some cases, like Germany, for example, you can't have more than 5 people meeting together from 2 separate families. So that's the kind of thing that we've got to do, and it is possible to do that. So so that will actually help to reduce some of the impact on the economy. We have noted as well that the liquor industry has called for, if government decides to close off consumption on consumption outlets, to allow them to sell off consumption. And that is something that did happen at some point during COVID. I can't remember quite when that was, in one of the various phases, but that is a possibility. I mean, we would prefer that not to happen, but it is one way, I suppose, of reducing the economic impact on taverns and pubs and restaurants that if they can't sell to people who are going to drink, come in and sit down and drink, they can at least sell for people to take home again. And that is the main thing, is to avoid the gatherings, to avoid the huge social get-togethers, the huge parties, the street bashes and so on, which are going to actually be the things that are going to spread COVID.
Yeah, as we talk about the off-site consumption as being one of the ways to follow through with protocols during this time, would it be fair to then say that why not allow alcohol to be sold 7 days a week instead of restricting it between a Monday and Thursday, as is the situation currently?
You know, one of the reasons why government makes alcohol less easily available on the weekend is because everybody knows that the weekend is the worst time for admissions to hospitals. It's the worst time for violence. It's the worst time for all of the kind of trauma cases that actually go into hospitals at this time. So I think that's why government has chosen to do that. It may be a solution if on consumption is completely banned. It may be a solution then to allow people also to buy on those other 3 days. We'd prefer to stay at Monday to Thursday, because then people can just plan ahead. If they want to buy alcohol, then they can make sure that they buy it by Thursday. You know, one of the things that I've seen on weekends is where people who have already begun drinking on a Saturday or a Sunday morning actually drive to a bottle store drunk to go and buy more alcohol. So, you know, at least if people have got themselves quite tipsy or quite drunk on the weekend, at least if they know they can't go and buy more, that will actually calm them down a little bit. So you know, and I think we've got to remember that this is a temporary measure to try and avoid the spread of the virus and to make sure that as many of us are around as possible to celebrate the festive season in 2021.
Sure. Many thanks for your insights there. I've been talking to the South African, I've been talking there to Maurice Smithers, who's a director at the SAAPA on those regulations.